we're going to talk trailer trash today.
I don't like that term. It's been dramatized on movies. You have Joe Dirt, you have Trailer Park Boys.
Like you look at Skid Row, look at the projects. The issues aren't the buildings. A lot of these things are in great location. They're just wildly undermanaged.
Like you're unearthing this great asset.
Then you kind of set the tone for the community.
We're going to get rid of the connotation of trailer trash. We're coming and we're going to bring the standard way
Trailer
up.
trophies.
And crush
That's
it.
right, trailer trophies. I like that one, Morgan. Yeah.
Trailer trophies. Welcome to another episode of the Cashflow Quest. We're going to talk trailer trash today. And we're excited to kind of get punchy with this and figure out, does the old adage belief system of mobile home parks equal trailer trash, does that still exist?
Is there still a stigma?
And I would say that depends. You know?
I'd agree with that statement.
Yeah, definitely.
Depends on the park.
Where is the park? What quality is the park in?
What quality resident base is there? How well is it being managed?
Which goes back to like location.
Totally.
You know? And then quality. And, you know, because we've actually had some decent deals where they're in a better part of town, a little bit rougher, but overall, pretty good clientele.
And when we say rough, like explain to the listener when we say a rougher deal to the listener, what would that mean? Like, what do we mean?
So there's a 5-star rating system in manufactured housing communities. And I would say that 1 star is there's no zeros. 1 star is it, you know? Right. Where if you start at 1 star, that is really like the density of the deal. It's a lot of old trailers all stacked together, too close now. Like setbacks, you'd never get them back in there. If the trailer park went up in flames, it would be a bad day because they'd probably all, like a section of them would burn because they're just too dang close. And then a lot of them have built little, you know, sheds or like laundry rooms or whatever. They've built them off little tags off of their old trailers. And it's like everything's almost interconnected.
And in these old trailers, back in the day when they used to make them, they were only 10 feet wide. Sometimes we've seen them as 8.
Yeah.
Okay. 8 to like 12 was kind of standard back then. So when Blake says like really dense, and if like one burns down, you try to put a new one in. Today, you can't buy a house.
You'd literally have to like custom make that home.
Cool. I got
or 2 for 1.
A couple opinions on this. When I think 1-star park, usually a 1-star park has non-paved roads, right?
I was going to say dirt roads. Mm-hmm.
And you might have a super dense property, but you might also have like the smaller, like 20 to 30 space park, and it's kind of missing some teeth, you know, like it's missing homes.
Yes.
So it might not be super dense, but like it's somewhat vacant, you know? That would be kind of where I'm thinking. And, you know, when we talk about the history of manufactured housing, back in the day, Route 66, it was kind of a luxury thing to tow your house and go to these places.
Yeah.
And so a lot of them were really like fifth wheel back in, you know, P-trap connections. And so they have infilled with smaller MH, or sometimes they set the fifth wheel there, put skirting on it and painted it. And it's
let it be.
It's from the 50s and 60s. So yeah you kind
They
of
really were trailer parks back when trailer parks was what it was.
Yes.
You came and parked your trailer.
Yep.
So who owns the majority of these remaining 1-star parks? Is it mainly just land and then the individual owners, or is there still like guys like us or like the mobile home park operators that still technically manage them? Are they kind of just off on their own?
Well, yeah, I mean, you're not going to get into institutions. Obviously, they're not buying these. But
good question. What are you alluding to?
Well, because like it's interesting because like I'd be curious because like I mean the answer is probably both. There's probably a handful of 1-star parks that technically there is no master owner. Then it's just all the individual trailers, like it would be a single family neighborhood. But then
maybe.
Well, are you saying are the homes owned by the residents? Or are the
park?
The park.
I think
the parks are wholly owned by people.
I think the park, those style of parks are either mom and
They're
pop.
never condoed. You'd never get that to fly. So they're always an old parcel, big parcel.
The lots are too small. The lots are too small where those trailers are parked to condo it or own it. So where my guess would be that it's a mom and pop shop
probably
or
there.
family that they've owned it forever.
Yeah.
Or a group like us that's like a, not institutional level.
We are institutional level, and we don't own any 2-star parks or 1-star parks. So I would say you get kind of like early operators where that's kind of their niche. when we sold Brighton, we sold to a group that like specialized in taking antiquated
Yes.
parks.
And they were also more new. Like you cut your teeth in this industry on one star mobile home parks.
Yeah. If you want the 7 to 10 cap that, isn't going to have a lot of competition, you have enough equity to buy. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
They're cheaper. They're more approachable. Okay, well, let me finish. So 1 star, I just want to be clear here. 1 star is really high density, probably over 15 to the acre.
And dirt roads.
And the trailers are probably older than 1980. They're probably 60s and 70s. I've had 58.
Yeah. Yeah.
In those deals.
So
then you go 2 star.
Was 1946.
That's a pretty old trailer.
Fresh from the war.
And so then you move to 2 star. 2 star is a little bit better quality of what we just described on every front. It might have just a lot of clutter and junk that hasn't been managed. Probably more like 15 trailers or mobile homes to the acre. And then you may or may not have any amenities. You might have a pool, but you might not. You might have a pool that got filled in and turned into a garden, things like that.
Yeah, 1 star would have 0 amenities too. Yeah.
Right. And then 3 star, you now have like a swimming pool, a decent hangout park.
Paved roads.
Needs some clutter removal, needs some organization, somebody just to manage it effectively and like clean it up. Whether it breaches into a 4 star really depends on the location and the quality of the layout of the homes. You're probably leaning towards more like 12 to 13 to the acre of a 3 star. And then 4 star, now you're like nice community bones, but it's run down. And it could be a little bit further outside of town, but it's just newer. Typically, a 4 star is going to be built probably 1970, 1980 plus. So you're going to end up with a lot more newer inventory, probably more like 10 to the acre. Definitely have nice clubhouses and amenity packages. And then 5 star is like basically a resort. And most 5 star deals we see are 55 plus because you just end up taking it to that level. The 5 star family deals are pretty rare, I'd say. And then
I can't think of a single one.
I know. I don't know that.
They exist. Like ELS probably has a few. Sun has a few.
Would you call once it's fully built out Reserve in Houston that we went and saw 5 star?
Yes.
Once it's built out.
The brand new family parks, I would say, are 5 star.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
They got hot yoga.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a resort style community. That's the Reserve.
I would call Reserve like barely making a 5 personally.
But it makes it.
It's right there.
Yes or no?
Versus some of these like perfect, like a Silver King deal, all ground set houses, very high end, all the yards done perfectly.
That's a 5 star too.
Like, that has a 5 star amenity package, but it has 4 star home quality. It's vinyl skirting. It's Cavco Clayton entry level home product. Like I would call that like it's barely making a 5 only because they decked out the clubhouse. That's my take.
That's fair.
We're probably splitting hairs.
Splitting hairs.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I think what's technically accurate is like if it has the amenity package, really good layouts, and you have like the staff and the activities, I think it's a 5 star.
Yeah. And like
we could fact check that though.
We could. Yeah.
So anyways, there's the lay of the land in the mobile home park world, and it's like what's the stigma today, and that's a pretty broad spectrum.
That is
probably deeper than most people think. Sorry.
Yeah, to my understanding, back in the day, there was a guy who published a star rating, and there was actually like a whole collection of groups formally rating parks based off of this list. This is a look-upable list from when you were traveling around what star community would you want to stay in. There's like an origin of the 5 star, and I think it's just been kind of picked up by brokers and guys like us where it's like, it isn't a science now. It's like, that's a 2 star or a 3 star.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel like it is
hybrid
now.
stars.
Yeah.
It's a 2.5. I pitch 3.5s all the time.
That's interesting, Cam. Maybe he could find the origin story of the star rating for mobile home
the
park.
Michelin guide.
Yeah, like that'd be interesting to include here for this episode. Yeah.
Thoughts on it.
Thoughts on it.
Yeah. So when we're talking white trash or trailer
Stigma.
trash, I think that's like a negative connotation and it's inappropriate.
I know.
But it is a word that obviously has reached the American nomenclature. And so we
like
obviously
the trailer park boys and that kind of a thing.
And obviously like we don't feel that way about anyone. And I think it's kind of like a negative talk, but let's kind of cover what that stigma is. And I think ultimately you have, it's been dramatized on movies. You know, you have Joe Dirt, you have Trailer Park Boys, you have all these situations and scenarios where people are mocked. But to your original question, which is this still a thing? I would say it's still a thing. You know, every once in a while I refer to one of our communities as a trailer park. And sometimes I get like where managers who have been in the industry for a really long time are like, I don't like that term. And I'm like, okay, but like that's because you have a negative connotation on it. Like it's a mobile home park, it's a trailer park. Everyone knows what a trailer park is when you say it. Yeah. So, but it is still there. People still don't really love it, the term trailer park and trailer trash.
In your opinion, what do you think over the years caused it to become a thing with society?
I think that it became mostly like when we look at the majority of homes being produced and made, it's in the 70s. I think it became an affordable option. And then I think it was mostly privatized at the time, and no one took care of these parks for like 30 years. And they became really distressed. Down.
And that's the thing too, because like the trailer, you know, just like with any stereotype, there's like a hint of truth, but it's not appropriate to paint anything with a broad stroke. And what it really comes down to, it's less like obviously the tenant, but it more comes down to management. Like you look at Skid Row, look at the projects. The issues aren't the buildings. The issues aren't the location. Like a lot of these things are in great location. They're just wildly undermanaged. And then it just kind of takes on a life of its own and it festers. And then it becomes such a problem that nobody wants to take on the management problem to fix it. But then the thing is, like in any asset class, if you can take a A-class asset, fill it with D-class tenants, and all of a sudden it's a D-class asset. But if you take a lot of times in our world, you take a C-class asset and you manage it great. You put a lot of money, time, resources into it. And you take a C or D class asset, as some people would call it, and you make it a very well established BB plus.
Yeah.
Well said.
Very well said.
I agree with everything, and I think that. So then I think the needle swingers of how do you get let's just say a C quality mobile home park? How do you get it up? You know, and I feel like I could tee that one up for you and.
Yeah. Well, I feel like in the last couple of years, we've really had a focus on this. And, you know, when you go into a C or D quality, there's junk everywhere around the trailers. Sometimes the streets aren't maintained. So like a seal coat on the roads or
sometimes you got to mill and
sometimes you got to repave. Yeah.
Before we gloss over, how do you, turn the old nastiness of a mobile home park? So you mentioned first that you can what was before streets? I blanked.
The junk around the trailers.
So how do you deal with the junk around the trailers?
I think like junk for me is like number one. You got clear the junk. Yeah, it's like you bring in a roll.
Because like it's easy to say that.
Well, Dad, you're itching. You're itching. Go.
This is what my full-time job is, and so we kind of have like a pretty set process. Number one, almost every single time, the very first thing we do when we buy a trailer park is we fire the manager.
When it's not managed to the level that we want to manage, it makes sense.
That's not always the case. We're currently in contract with the group, and they are doing a great job. We interviewed this team. We love the attitude. We're bringing them on. So it's not every single time, but like 9 out of 10.
Well, because if they're managing a park at that layer or that level, then probably not the caliber of like management style that we're looking to have, like a little lower standard than what we're trying to achieve, which 100%.
Is why a lot of times they live in the community, and if the community looks terrible and their house looks terrible, then they feel like that is what is appropriate.
Oh, okay.
And so it's not, that's number one.
Right.
So then we bring on someone, and I always ask one of my favorite interview questions as we're bringing in managers, and we really try to recruit not only from our industry but also from multifamily and other people. And I always ask, did you drive the community? And a lot of times they have. And then I ask, what is your opinion? And I judge people off of that. So if they went into a park that I think looks terrible, and you're like, I think it's beautiful, and you're like,
liar,
you're out, you know. Or if it's like, hey, I drove through it. I think it's got a lot of potential. That's what I like to hear. I don't want puffery. Right. I also don't want like too negative where it's like, I don't think that this could ever be fixed, anything like that, because it can be. So that's first step is getting the right people there with our eyes. Tracy down in Tucson, she calls it tied eyes, but like that's what we're looking for. We're looking for someone who's in there and they have the realization of this has potential, but it needs some elbow grease. So that's number one.
Yep.
Number two, we always throw a competition. and we always bring in roll-off dumpsters.
I thought that was gonna be the first thing.
So the competition is, we used to do best yard, but there's always one house that's immaculate and then they win. So I don't do that anymore. I do best yard and most improved. Okay. And then we have the free roll-off dumpster as a service.
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing is we let them know covenant enforcement is coming. And we usually send out the new rules. It takes 90 days to take into effect. So we get those out. So it's like, okay, the new rules are here. It's Bob in number 4 was fired immediately. So we need to really something's happening here. And, we might get a free month rent if we pick up our yard good enough, right? And so from there, that's really where we see a big push.
When you give them the resources, the big dumpster out front. It's like covenant enforcement's coming, and oh, by the way, use our big trash can.
Yep.
Which is half the battle because they don't want to go pay the dump fee or or they don't have a big truck to put the couch or the washing machine that's been on the side of their house forever.
Like when you have big stuff, it is not easy to get rid of.
No, it's not.
Super expensive. Dump fees like here in San Diego, our dump fee is $100 and you have to pay a group. I think one of our friends is junk removal, and he was saying that their minimum is like $700 or $800. If you're living in a mobile home park, you're a working class group, it just doesn't seem like it's on the docket for most people. So we make it, hey, we've got the
really
dumpster
easy.
here, and we rock and roll. And so a property where we've done this. Also, we mentioned streets. That's always a lender required repair, and we're mostly agency debt. So it's like something that's going to happen right out the gate.
Right.
It's usually within the first, it's always a 365-day requirement. So basically we roll in there, new streets, new covenant enforcement. And so an example is Palm, right? We took over Palm, and when we went in there, I think it was like 110 units roughly. I think we had like around 40 residents we classified as hoarders.
Oh my God. Out of 100.
Out of 100.
Yeah.
Okay. And we ended up having, I think, 2 evictions over covenant enforcement. So all of those people with the dumpster available removed all that junk and clutter.
It's amazing.
And there's a kind of a common theme here, and it's a theme that I love in the context of like leadership. And what this is a scale of leadership on the property management side, but it's motivating the middle, right? And you talk about how do you clean up a park, right? So much of these parks that we'll buy are filled with outstanding families. They want to do well. They're under-resourced, undersupplied, time-constrained, and you give them the time and resources, they're going to take advantage of it. And then the ones who don't, well, it's just like a red flag. Like, okay, these are probably going to be our problem childs. I'm giving you everything you need to like help us help you.
Right.
And you're still refusing. And you can see really what the next 3-6 months of, the tenant turnaround is going to look like. Is going to be big, small, but that effort right there, you can really see who's on our team to, hey, I want to turn this mobile home park into an actual community, or am I going to be the resistance?
Yep.
And
100%.
it really is infectious. Like when one starts to do it, they go, oh, look at, Joe 2 doors down. Like I better start cleaning my house too.
Yeah, I don't want my place look like crap.
Exactly. And then that follows with the painting and the skirting, and the junk clutter doesn't come back, because they start to walk it to the dumpster just 6 houses down or whatever it is. So it really is kind of when you provide the tools to just do something simple, clean up the junk around your house, it starts to spread. Mm-hmm. And then I think then the next layer that we take it is then we assess the amenity package that's there, and we get to kind of further enhance and bring a little like TLC to what's there existing, because a lot of times the pool is a great amenity, but it's just not open or been locked, or the pool man doesn't come, so the water's green. So it's like not hard to just paint the pool deck and put some new furniture out there and get a pool man to come once a week. Like kids will swim. And then same thing with, here's another example. Right now, there was at a property we have, there's this giant rectangular lot. I was showing the guys pictures actually quickly this morning. And it's like this dirt lot with
I didn't even realize that was there.
Yeah, you guys didn't even remember it because it was
Villa
so
Cielo.
Okay.
I didn't realize that it was as big. Like maybe I saw it, but I didn't realize how big it was.
Huge.
Yeah.
Where the playground is? Is that what we're talking about?
The one we looked at yesterday at Villa Cielo, the rectangular where they just put all the turf in.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like a park setting now, and I literally just went right by it because it was nothing but desert dirt.
It was desert
and a
dirt,
metal playground
and weeds, and a rundown playground that a little paint and love can fix. We don't have to buy a new playground. We're just gonna put a shade over it, put in some bark with spray glue so that the kids don't throw handfuls of bark everywhere, a little turf, and some new tables and chairs with a shade and like a couple of barbecues. And then we're going to get a couple of soccer nets on that big side of the grass.
Yeah, we've been getting complaints kids play soccer in the street.
Yeah, so go play soccer on the grass and we'll give you some nets to have like a real game.
Yeah.
And it's like a game changer. And so you're taking really what's existing there and just celebrating the space because it's not hard. It just takes a little focus and energy to kind of create it. Create the atmosphere. And so in my opinion, that's how you kind of take back to the original kind of comment of a CD quality asset and bring it up, you know. And in addition, I would say tied with you and your, like our team does a fantastic job with customer service. If somebody has a question or needs something, they know who to call and where to go to get help. And I think a lot of times in these like C and D quality assets, like there's nobody around. You can't get any help.
And that's not easy to achieve too. And like we're not perfect. You know, we're always working to get better and better on every angle of a touch point on the resident interface.
Right. Totally.
But like, why doesn't the Blackstones of the world achieve it?
Right. You would think with the amount
of money,
size and amount of money that backs a company like that, they could figure it out.
So, and this isn't actually to be hardcore against them or like it's an honest question. Like, what do you guys think? Is it just hard to do?
I think it's the stretch, right? So like when you look at the fall of the Roman Empire or even England, you know, of what it was, I think that they had such an expansive reach. Yeah. You can't touch everything all the time. It's just too big. It's kind of like the same thing with like Boeing, where like it's not producing the same way. It's having issues because they find Snicker bar wrappers in the freaking engine and whatever. I think that's what happens. Where it's like we have 30 parks. Yeah. I drive all of our parks multiple times a year. Like I see it. You know, our team sees it. We have videos. People at corporate office are checking to make sure teams are where they need to be. Like there's oversight. Where Blackstone, BlackRock, they're not actually physically buying and managing these deals. They're giving them to subsidiaries who are doing it, and they're like extending the trust, extending the responsibility, and basically making money off the appreciation. So I think that's kind of what we run into. That's my opinion.
They just don't have the operational know-how.
No, I mean, BlackRock's the largest asset manager in the world.
To be clear, it's Blackstone.
I'm both of them. I'm sure they both have exposure.
Both huge. Blackstone specifically has been in manufactured housing specifically for a long time.
Yeah, that would be my guess.
Yeah, they don't do in-house management, right? They hire third-party managers. So I think that there's I think we have a little bit further.
I'd say we have a higher standard too.
A higher standard.
It's a personal thing too.
And closer eyes. Like we are the asset managers. And so like we're not entrusting a property manager. We're property manager and asset manager, both in-house. And I think when a team of asset managers then manages the property management company, I don't know, it's just not quite apples to apples in my opinion.
Yeah, but it is like a very stark contrast. You know, we had a property in Mesa, and right across the street was a Blackstone deal. And I remember we bought the park. We did about $1 million in electrical infrastructure upgrades. We brought in all new pedestals, new source power, full amenity package, new streets. I think I said 30 or 40 houses in there. And then we sold the deal, right? Well, during that same amount of time, they owned it the whole time. And we went and drove through. I remember it was like Ben's kind of first rodeo with us.
The deal across the street from a deal we owned, yes.
Yeah. And pedestals are leaning. It's the original infrastructure, no upgrades. About 40% of the community was still RVs in MH spaces. Yeah. Like they didn't do anything. Like all that happened was they made a real estate appreciation, you know, just because value, like nothing was done there, period.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing too that's interesting for a group our size, like we're the largest of the small groups and the smallest of the big groups, but we're still at that size where, I mean, it's super important. Like your last name's on the company, right? So you care very deeply on the product that's being displayed and represented by your family name. Whereas these massive institutions, the guys in like your equivalent seat. So if they own 30,000 units, there's probably 10 Blake and Jens and Tides managing 3,000 units a piece as like the regional manager, right? But their last name isn't BlackRock. It's not Blackstone.
It's just a job.
They're
at
not
the end
working
of the
for
day.
a legacy. They're working for their, their pension, their stock options, their salary to maintain their burn rate for the lifestyle that they've built up.
Yeah.
But in the end, as long as that's coming in every month, like
they're gonna.
It's hit or miss. Some probably do put out an outstanding product, but all 10 probably don't. And it's a different level of care, and it's harder to copy and paste the team at scale like that. So you'll get a variety of quality when it comes to portfolios at large.
Because when I do a product or like a project like this, like I'm getting on an airplane to go like check it and walk it and make sure that like it turned out the way I was envisioning and like wanted it to be for this community. So like that
true ownership,
a true owner kind of like hat.
Role.
Yeah.
And if it's not, I'm going to fix it and make my punch list and go back to the drawing board, And so I feel like that layer that we kind of do is different than other companies.
And it's definitely something that like we have to keep in mind too, as we continue to grow, to not lose, because that's like our secret sauce.
Yeah,
is like,
totally.
It's like one, it's a great vehicle for investing, but also like the reason why it is because we're so good at ops.
Yeah.
And it's like the larger you get, the more people you build, the more like, how can you reproduce our high quality team at scale to continue to execute at the high quality we do?
So then I couldn't agree more. And I love the point. Like, man, the whole corporate, that's the key, is like to not end up too corporate and have true owners really keeping the standard and setting the goals at that higher level.
Yeah.
Which is not easy to do for mobile home parks. It took us a lot of years.
Anywhere.
I was just going to say, I feel like we were bad operators in the beginning. Like I look at myself, year 1 and 2, and I've been here 11 years. Like there were goofy things I did just because I didn't know. And sometimes I bump into people. We go to like industry events I'll grab dinner with a big table of guys that are in. And it's like groups where it's like they had a big exit from Wall Street. They decided to create a syndication group. And now they're on their like second year of operating. They're talking to me and it's like, we didn't realize this, and we didn't either. There's certain like you hit your head on a few branches as you're falling down, and you learn these things. So it takes time. I feel like to develop that touch.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, how long did it take us to figure out a cool design platform?
Oh man, years. Yeah.
Man, just to come up with good ideas, because you're having to really retrofit something.
Well, and
there's no good examples, frankly. No. Like there's all these brand new things you can find online and look at. But like, what do you do with this old desert mobile home park? Like it literally has desert sand. I everywhere around it, and then inside it's a big flat chunk of dirt. It's like, man, you really have to cast a vision to make that look good.
Yeah.
And
ask what the residents want. Like that's been a kind of a breakthrough for me is like, I could come up with this vision and create this like awesome space, but if the residents who live there aren't going to use it, that does zero good. What was the point of that? Or the money, the effort, everything. So it's like really kind of having a management like team that's there on site that for the first 6 months gets to know how the residents use the space, learning that the kids play soccer in the street, like learn about that community and what would be a benefit to that group, that community, because each park's different. So they're not, it's like once you've figured it out, it's not like copy and paste. It's, you got to really kind of feel out each community. They each have their own personalities.
A big lesson we learned though also is we raise that money up front.
Right.
Because I remember I used to get brought into these meetings. It's like, I just went to this park and I don't like it. I want it to look resort style. And it's like, well, there's $30,000 in the bank account. Like we're not in a position.
And you can't do anything for 30 grand these days. Like pretty much. I mean, then
we get a bird bath.
Budget enough to do what you need to do. But then also don't over improve.
Totally. There's a
we've
fine
bumped
line.
into that too,
We've tried everything, and I feel like we've kind of found the sweet spot of there is a middle road.
We've tried the bazooka of glitter, and it's
not worth it.
It doesn't work either.
No.
It's like, damn, we just blew like $300 to $400 grand, and it's nice and all, but like,
unnecessary.
could we have done it on the value side a little bit better for 1 to 2?
Tide slide.
Yeah.
The tide slide is great.
But you gotta try stuff.
You do to learn.
And then we figured it out. Oh, okay. We really only needed to spend maybe a third or a half of that to net 80, 90%.
Right.
Okay, then I think the one we haven't hit yet
And then we got to wrap it up because
is
we got to go.
homes.
Yes.
The homes change everything.
The homes changed
You
the
got to
entire
start
community.
with the clubhouse, the streets, the signage, the landscaping, the landscape lighting, the whole thing.
Then you kind of set the tone for the community.
But then the long, hard ball
is the
and
homes.
the pushing up the hill of sand for 10 years.
And that's unique to this asset class that no other like asset class really has to the extent, I think, because the homes they're a lot. And
so
all
this
different.
is where I'd say boys become men in this space, right?
Yeah.
It's the transition from the potential where we're not trying to call anybody trailer trash, but this is what we kicked it off with.
Right.
Is the illusion of, or what people perceive as trailer trash, to taking that asset and actually bringing it to a place where it's like, wow, hey, did you see how cute that house is?
Yeah.
Hey, did you see the amenity package? Oh, wow. Hey, look, the whole property looks so much better now.
Yes.
And you really, I call it like you're unearthing. It's like these old cars that are sitting out in the middle of nowhere, and you can actually restore them and make them great again.
Yeah. It's
like you're unearthing this great asset, and the finishing touch is the homes. So there you go.
We've done a lot with homes. I think there's two lessons, one on the high and one on the low end, that most operators miss. The first is they're chasing profit on individual house sales. So they set a house, they blow out, they get all the knickknacks and doodads in the house, and then they have to make some margin on it, and that house sits. And I think that's a loss. And then the other on the low end is a lot of handyman specials. I see this all the time, even to this day on LinkedIn, from big groups, big operators, where it's like, here's why we do handyman specials. And we actually just brought on a manager with a lot of experience from a big group. And like, he was like mad at us because we aren't doing handyman specials, because they move inventory and they get occupancy up. The problem is, if you're selling a house with every window broken, missing floorboards, no one's check utilities, is there a chance that there's a general contractor who bought this that actually wants to fix it up and live in it? Maybe. I mean, 1 in a million, I think. It's very rare.
You can move them.
You can move them.
We tried it.
Yeah, I was going to say, we've been here.
We've been there, done that.
The client base you get when you put $30,000 into a house, or $40,000, and you lose $1,000, and they got some type of local bank financing and they want to live there and they're pumped on it, is completely different than the person who is buying either out of need or out of some scheme, whatever, that I'm going to make $500 and flip the house myself, but I've never done it before. Those people buying the houses is really a problem, and it deteriorated our NOI through COVID bad.
Well, and we've experienced that the retention of those residents is like terrible.
100%.
They live there for 6 months to a year maybe, and then they leave. And those are the type of people that actually just like in the night walk. They don't. And so we try to catch them, to offer them cash for keys, to kind of like get the title, but it causes more headache in the end. Yeah.
You could build a hell of a pros and cons.
Yeah.
You have a few pros, which is the thing sells quickly because it's cheap. You get occupancy up short term, and your team makes a commission, right? If they're selling it, right? But then it's like, okay, now let's stack up the cons. The house still looks like shit. They aren't going to fix it as much as as good as you'd like it to look. It's never going to look.
Or we would have done.
If they're buying a $2,500 house, guess what? They don't have a lot of resources to throw at that house. They don't have the $30,000 most likely.
No.
If they do, they're going to pull it. Because then they're actually just looking for a cheap home to pull to their park.
Exactly.
So then you're dealing with poachers, we call them, people ripping homes out to just move them.
Yeah.
So that you just start to keep going. I mean, I could go and go. But then the retention's horrible. You end up with a lot more turnover in general. The quality of the resident is horrible in the end. I mean, you're not always, but what we found and determined over time was that you're going to end up with that lower tier. So now what did you do to the community?
Yeah.
From a community standpoint, I'm talking about the people.
Right.
So when you go to 30, 40K, you're bringing a higher, more qualified, better quality resident in that you want to, and you're leaning the community in the right direction.
Yeah, who wants, to have ownership of a home?
And the home is worth the money.
Yes.
In fact, when they buy it from us and they live there for a couple of years, they more than likely can sell it for more than what we sold it to them for.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Because now the whole community looks better and better.
Which is a kind of a business decision we made along the way too. We'd rather sell the house for break even or a net loss of $1,000 or whatever it is, so that it keeps the affordability for the residents there, to where as we continue to enhance the community, they do have a little equity in their home, and it gives them optionality to kind of have true ownership and have options to either stay or move.
Yeah, we looked at this, I think it was last year in Tucson. We had about $1 million in renovations. We lost $250,000, but we made $750,000 back. But the increase in occupancy that was stable, it was something like millions of dollars of added property value. And what's interesting is we have a park like Romero where it was really tough because we had a lot of turnover on home notes that was unanticipated. And so what ended up happening was I was getting a lot of heat because we basically had occupancy that wasn't meeting the sales pro forma. But what we did was we really cut our expense ratio in half because we weren't having all these flips and rough houses that were turning over for rentals. That ended up being pulled out of the P&L. And so what ended up happening is I didn't meet my occupancy, but pretty quickly I had like a spike through the roof in NOI. Our evictions dropped dramatically. Like some of the lowest turnover company-wide is at that park because we turned so many units for capable buyers. And the other thing that's beautiful is the park looks fantastic.
It does.
Best collecting park that we have in Tucson. And it was one that was one of our worst. I mean, you wouldn't think that that's 98.9% collecting park every month on the 5th. Like it is,
but see, it's
a clock.
Quality tenant that will buy. It makes a difference.
And the tenants that were there before love us. They're like, you guys, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for improving my community that I live in. I can be proud to be here now.
Clubhouse closed since the 80s. We did a really cool thing. We spent around $100,000 on the clubhouse, which is not that much money if you think about it. But new floor, new paint, new roof, put in AC, and we brought in our knickknacks that was styled, and it looks sharp. It looks like we put $500,000 in it, and it wasn't that much.
And it's crazy when you run a community, and it really goes with any asset class, but specifically for us, when you show pride of ownership as an owner, it's contagious. There's another. I'm a big saying guy, but attitude is more infectious than the flu. And it's like if you have a good attitude and you give a shit about the park and you care about the tenants, they're going to take that same attitude. As long as they're like the good ones, which there's plenty of them.
Right.
They're going to take that same ownership.
Yes.
And then that gets spread like a contagion around the park. And then those oddballs and those bad apples really get exposed and identify we can get them out.
And I think we've seen it. Like people are out putting, a fresh coat of paint on their house or fixing the holes in their skirting and doing, things to really improve it. So it's pretty cool.
Well, there you have it. As an industry, we're going to get rid of the connotation of trailer trash and trailer parks. And we're coming for that community that's left. That's still a little bit run down. We're coming and we're going to bring the standard way
trailer
up.
Trophies.
And crush
That's
it.
right. Trailer trophies. I like that one, Morgan. Yeah.
Trailer trophies. Yes. So thanks for joining us, and hopefully you got some clarity around trailer trash and the trailer park industry. See you next time.
Bye.